Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy HD MMA back at it again with another video. Today we got my picks and predictions for UFC 325 Volkanovski versus Lopez 2. It's pretty fucking exciting and pretty unusual to go back to back pay-per-views, especially coming off that long ass break we had in the from the UFC, that like month from December and January. Now we're getting back to back pay-per-views. It feels a little unusual and like kind of unreal. Let me fix my camera a bit. Kind of unreal, but here we are, and I'm feeling pretty good about these picks, and I think this is a pretty sick card overall. I think there's going to be some great finishes. I don't think it's as stacked. It's definitely not as stacked as the last card we got. But yeah, they'll still think it's going to be some pretty good fights overall. There wasn't really much hype. It was kind of like the hype for this card was like kind of sort of like meshed in with like the sort of like press and like the rollout for 324. So I felt like this card kind of got swept under the rug, especially with all the like lightweight title conversations that 324 sort of manufactured and had developed, especially with like the beef with all those fighters towards like Patty and shit, which is going to be exciting to see play out over like the coming year and stuff. But yeah, overall some pretty good fights on this card. I'm just going to get straight into it. I'm going to be going through the entire card, starting with the first fight on the prelims all the way up to that main event of Volkan Lopez 2. If you're new here and you don't know how I do this, and yeah, I'm just gonna get started off. I got this fucking like big callus on my finger that I'm picking out under the table, if you wonder what I was doing. But yeah, we're gonna get this card started off with the first fight of Aaron Toe versus Namzrai Batbayar. And I'm going with Aaron Toe by around 2 TKO. I trust in the training of Aaron Toe a lot more than I do of Namzrai Batbayar. He's only 25, and I think with these Asian a lot of these Asian fighters is they start super fucking young. I don't know what the culture is over there in Asia, where they just like sort of like throw these guys to the Shark Tanks at their very ripe and green ages. I think like, Song Yadong, he started off, I think he got into the UFC when he was 19 and stuff like that. This guy, he's 25. So all these guys are like super young when they get into MMA. I don't know if they're just that confident in their training, or they're just like, it's just like a experience thing they've got going on or whatever, but I trust in the training of Aaron Toe coming out of CKB, where like they've really developed a system for a lot of these guys, and have really got like the training and the whole game of MMA sort of situated to where they're preparing these guys very well coming out of their debuts and regionals, where they're looking extremely technical and very like they know what they're doing in there at the like very start of their careers, which is good to see, especially like Australia too and New Zealand. A lot of those guys are coming out pretty technical and pretty good starting off their from their careers. And yeah, I believe he's also more physical than Batbayar. He's a bit stringy, in the body composition. Aaron Toe, he's much more like sort of filled. I think it also says he was his weight is 125. Maybe he fought at flyweight before and he's moving up to bantamweight. Oh, which could be good. Ooh, that Ladderman skill. I've just now realized this actually. I thought this said 135. He's flyweight coming up to bantamweight, which, ooh, oh shit, oh shit. I didn't think about that, but I didn't think about that. Fuck, fuck. I'll still stick with Aaron Tao. Yeah, he's way more physical. I think he has more power in his hands than Batbayar. And he's also like way more heavy on the pressure. He's always pushing on the gas, on the front foot, pushing the pace in all of his fights, and he's also getting up in people's faces, backing them up to the fence, getting them always like behind the black line and all that shit. So yeah, I trust Aaron Tao to be pressing forward, pushing the fight, getting the action, probably being first, and having the more throwing the more powerful combinations and powerful shots in the fight. Batbayar, he is pretty good. He has some good shot selection, and he has some he can sting you. He's got some venom in his punches as well. But it's super. Here's the thing about with all the shot selection and the counters, all that. You can only really do that when you're like exponentially more skillful in the striking than the guy you're fighting at. If you're at a comparable level, trying to pick your shots on the back foot and skirt along on the back foot and do all that, that's extremely tough. And I believe both of these guys are very comparable in the striking when in terms of their skill level towards each other. So I think the pressure and the pace of Aaron Tao constantly backing up Batbayar and moving him backwards, putting his back to the fence, is gonna fare way better for Tai than Batbayar trying to select some shots and skirt around on the back foot against for himself and against Tai here. And in the grappling, I do think Batbayar has better submission skills. I think he has more submissions on his record, I believe, but he doesn't really have like a good way of getting the fight to the ground and sort of trying to alleviate the pressure of Toe. Have I seen Tai? I meant Toe. If I've been saying Tai, my bad. But of Toe, I don't think he's gonna be able to shoot on Toe and sort of try to alleviate the pressure. I think if he shoots on Toe, Toe will defend it pretty easily. He has good skills on the ground, but he doesn't have the best way of getting there. Most of the time when he gets to fight to the ground, it's because he's hurt his opponent and he jumps on their back or something like that. But in terms of like offensive grappling and all that stuff, he's it's sort of lacking, or he hasn't really shown that part of his game. So yeah, I'm going with Toe to have just be pressing forward, putting on the pressure, putting on the pace, backing up Toe and landing a big punch or just a big combination, and just not giving him space to counter and sort of like measure and read the fight and fill it out. I think Toe will be able to put it on him, land a big punch or a flurry, and hurt Batbayar and put him away with some ground and pound. So yeah, Aaron Toe by round 2 TKO. Moving on, we got Sulang Rangbo versus Lawrence Louis. I'm going with Lawrence Louis by round 2 TKO again. I just, again, I trust in the training of Louis. He is also out of CKB. His biggest weakness, I would say, starting off the bat, his biggest weakness is that he does not move his head, and he's way too reliant on that high guard, that high tight guard. He just covers up with behind his forearms, and he doesn't really try to move his head and get his head off the center line, and that has gotten him like hurt and caught before in some of his fights. And is like in one of his like road to UFC fights, he has gotten clipped by a guy doing that. But yeah, Sulang Ring Bao, again, he's very similar to Bat Bayar. He's very young. He's only 20 years old. Um, he has the he does select some shots. He has good pop. He has a good uppercut as well. I see that working in this fight. And up, fucking Bo throwing an uppercut while Louis has like a hindsight guard and sort of stinging Bo through. I mean, stinging Louis through it. But overall, despite that, I don't see a lot of ways Sulang Ringbo can win in this fight besides catching Louis with an with like a big uppercut. I think Louis has the overall deeper tool bag when it comes to the striking and the offense, and he more so pushes the pace and pressures forward on in a lot of his fights, compared to Sulang Ringbo, who just like takes it in the center or just is a little bit skirting around on the back foot. I think Lowe can intelligently pressure forward, get in his face a little bit, back Sulang Ringbo up, not give him as much space to counter, and eventually put a combination on him. Maybe hit him with a big shot, or hit him with a big shot, not maybe, or hit him with a big shot and hurt Sulang Ringbo and finish him. And this is also I forgot to mention, this is also an open stance fight as well. So I think the right hand of Lowe will be there for him as well. Yeah, I'm going with Louis by round 2 TKO. Moving on, we got Kenshiro Nakamura versus Sebastian Saleh. I think that's how you say his name. I forgot. I actually forgot to say his name, but I'm going with Saleh by split decision. I think Saleh is more well-rounded than Nakamura. Nakamura, he's old. He's 37. He's pretty much a pure striker from what I've seen. He's really like slick and stuff with his hands and all of his strikes, but he does lack sort of the power. Maybe the guy I've seen him fight just had a fucking iron chin and just could not be dropped. But from what I've seen, he does lack a bit of power and lack the ability to really sit down and really make people worried about him throwing shots. I think he just kind of like flows with the strikes and sort of hits people, but it doesn't really land with consequence on guys. While Saleh, I think he can mix it up with the wrestling and the grappling, and also he's more closer to his prime. That he's 31, fully developed. He's not starting to go off into the declining age where he's getting a bit slower. Also, he's also putting together his hands really well. Saleh, and a lot of his earlier fights and stuff I've watched of him, he's kind of skirting around on the back foot, but in his most recent win, he's sitting down on his punches. He's standing his base, sticking and moving better and better from what I've seen from him. And yeah, I think this fight is going to be a bit of a war, a bit of a scrap. I think Nakamura in the earlier rounds is going to be a bit sort of too slick for Saleh, and Saleh is going to have to get beaten up and sort of tire out Nakamura, and then start to find the reads and find the shots and sort of sit down his punches more to counter Nakamura in the later rounds. And I think he's gonna win it by a split decision, 29-28 kind of thing. And I also try and mix in the takedowns earlier in the fight to sort of gas Nakamura out even more. But so yeah, I'm going with Sebastian Sazlay to get that done by a split decision. I think it's going to be a good fight either way. Moving on, we got Songwok Kim versus Dom Marfan. I'm going with I'm going with Kim. I thought I wrote down a Marfan in my notes, but I'm going with Kim. Both of these guys have good grappling. From what I've seen, that's how they primarily, win their fights, is getting the fight to the ground and controlling their guy, landing ground and pound and all that. But Kim, he's shown way more dominant grappling in his fights. Just able to hold guys down for longer. Land more effective ground and pound, transition cleaner, and all that stuff. Dom Marfan, he does get, in a lot of his fights, he does get, swept a lot and reversed a lot in the grappling exchanges. And his 2 losses were both to Quillen Salkield by rear naked choke. So he is a bit susceptible to submissions, from what I can see. And yeah, I see Kim being able to have the more dominant grappling, be able to control the position better on Marfan, being able to maybe reverse Marfan, sweep him, defend the grappling of Marfan while succeeding in his own grappling, or succeeding in his own grappling. And yeah, and I also think he's more effective in the striking as well. So I think this fight is going to be very grappling heavy, not too much on the feet, and I think Kim is going to be able to just be more dominant in that aspect of the game. So yeah, I'm going with Kim by a unanimous decision. Just just control him, laying ground and pound, all that good gay shit. Moving on, we got the headliner of the early prelims. We got Con Offley versus Yai Zhou, or Yai Jay. Yeah, Yai Jay. When I first saw the picture of him, I was scared. Like, who the fuck was that? But that's just, he had a crazy ass hairstyle when he took this. Yai Jay, he looks different now. He has like a way, like, more normal set of hair. But either way, I'm going with Yai Jay by a round 2 KO. First off, Yai Jay, he's way more experienced than Offley. He's had over 30 fights, and he's not even 30 years old yet, which is insane. And yeah, he's also had what the fuck am I saying? What the fuck am I? Collect yourself. Yeah, I was gonna say something about Offley. My bad. Offley, he's fought more dangerous guys, especially in the UFC. He's fought Marion Santos, who is coming off a win. He's fought Muhammad Naimov, who Marion Santos just knocked out, and he lost to both of those guys. He got KO'd like hilariously by Marion Santos on The Ultimate Fighter, and he just besides that, he's got his most recent win in his last fight over Ricardo Ramos or something like that. Subbed him in the first round. Who has some good wins on his record too. He, spinning elbowed Amir Albazi out cold, Ramos. So yeah, Offley's fought some dangerous guys, but I think the experience of EIJ sort of counteracts that and balances that out. The competition level of Offley and the experience of just general experience of Jay. And also Coughley, he's had a massive reach disadvantage in this fight. You can see 66 to 71 massive reach advantage, and I think Jay is going to be able to sort of catch Offley trying catching Clip Awfully trying to come in. I do see Awfully sort of trying to clinch up and close the distance on Jay early on in the fight. Sort of, clinch up with him, try and grapple. I think Jay can defend all of that, or should I say Yi can defend all of that, and sort of get the timing as he goes into the fight, get the range as Awfully tries to come in and try to clinch with Yi. And in the second round, I think Yi is going to be able to clip Awfully coming in, hurt him, and drop him, or maybe like Clip Awfully exchanging with him after like a clinch, after they separate from a clinch, sort of like how fucking Santos KO'd Awfully. So yeah, I'm going with Yijay to be able to do that in the second round. Moving on to the prelims, we got this fight that got canceled on a later card. I think it was the Olberg Reyes card that this fight got canceled. We got Jonathan Mikalev versus Orban Elliott. Yes, lad, Orban Elliott's back, lad. I'm going with fucking Mikalev over here. I went with him on the Olberg Reyes card, and I'm going with him here. I'm sticking with it. Mikalev. First off, this fight is it is tricky for Mikalev, since his sort of weakness is Oban's strong suit. But I still think Mikalev has ways to get it done more than Oban. I think Mikalev can get it done in the grappling. Oban's last fight, he got out grappled and controlled by what's his name, Song Hyun KO or something like that. That was his name. Oban, he got controlled there and got taken down a lot by KO. And I think Mikalev can do something similar, since he is like sort of much bigger than Oban. He does like fill out way more. His back is bigger, I think. I think he can get in the clinch and sort of tie up Oban with in the clinch, and get him down with a lot of upper body takedowns, like the trips and the throws in the clinch. I think he can get Oban down with those, like he did in his Contender Series fight against the guy who was fighting. And I also think Mikalev can blast kicks on Oban. This fight is open stance, and Mikalev, he's got a really dangerous rear body kick, and he sometimes whips it up in the head too. He dropped Kevin Doucette in his last fight with that, throwing those rear body kicks and mixing it up to the head, dropping Doucette with that. I think he can do something similar to Oban as well. Do something similar to Oban with that as well. And yeah, I think he can just kick at range with Oban, and I also think his boxing it's serviceable enough to hang with Oban. I do think Mikalev, if he knows what's good for him, as soon as Oban starts to get happy with the hands, immediately try and tie up Oban in the clinch and look to take him down from there. But when you're at range with him, blast kicks, throw as many rear body kicks as you can on Oban. And that's really it for Mikalev. Oban, he has good hands, but that's kind of all he does. And it's not like his hands are like so extraordinary to where it's always sort of a factor. He gets the job done with them, but it's not like anything crazy that a lot of guys can't deal with him can't deal with it in there with him. He does have good power in his hands along with that, but I think Mikalev can hang with him there, tie him up if Oban starts to get happy in there a little bit, and kick at range and also maybe control Oban on the ground a little bit. I think Oban, he can scramble out of positions. He did that a lot against KO in that fight. But Mikalev, he has slick transitions on the ground. The way he won his Contender Series fight, he like transitioned to a triangle off of like he was like sliding off the guy's back or something like that. I don't fully remember it all the way, but Mikalev, he has slick transitions on the ground and slick subs. So yeah, he just got way more ways to win in this fight, whereas Oban can only sort of win with the boxing, it seems. So yeah, I'm going with Mikalev by unanimous decision. Moving on, we got Jacob Malkoun, bloody Jacob Malkoun, Jacob Malkoun versus Torres Finney. I'm going with Torres Finney, man. It pains me to say because it's probably going to be boring the way he's going to win, but hey, they're both fucking, sub 6 foot middleweights or sub 5'10" middleweights, short as fuck at middleweight. Torres, he's way more physical. You can see it in the fucking little fighter silhouette. God damn, my back is killing me. You can see it in the fighter like silhouette photos. Torres way more muscular, way more muscle bound than Malkoun. Jacob Malkoun starting off rough in the UFC, getting KO'd by Phil Hawes, and also having like a lot of like fluky weird wins. The win against Andre Petrosky, just shit like that. He's weird. A lot of weird outcomes to Malkoun's fights. Whereas Finney, he's extremely boring. We all know what he's gonna do before he does it. Just immediately get in on the hips. Look to get his opponent down. Maybe pull off some slams here and there to wake you up out of your fucking nap that you're taking while watching his fight. But ultimately, just control guys whenever he gets his hands on them. Get them down to the mat. Control them. Land some, little ground and pound here and there. But yeah, Malkoun, he has some good wrestling in his own right, but I just think Torres Finney is way more physical and way more controlling with his wrestling than what Malkoun is. And Malkoun, he doesn't really have that serviceable of striking either. Neither does Finney. But I think Finney has a way better chance to close the distance and get the wrestling going than Malkoun does have to fucking, defend the takedowns, keep the fight on the standing, and exploit the striking of Finney. So, yeah, I'm going with Torres Finney to win a boring, unanimous decision, and all that shit. Moving on, we got Cam Rowson versus Cody Brundage. I'm going with Cam Rowson in this one by a round 1 TKO. Cody Brundage, we all we all know him. We all fucking are bored of him. We're all fucking perplexed by how fucking fluky this guy is and how many like fucking no contests and draws and all that bullshit that he's for some reason always getting himself into. I don't know how he's always has some weird outcome to his fight like Malkoun does. I don't know what the fuck, what fucking black cat walked past this motherfucker to where he's having all this shit happen to him. But Cam Rowson, he's slick with his striking, slick with the hands. He's a bit like a white Izzy at middleweight. And I'm not saying that because he had like the whole like he was looking at Izzy with the whole post-fight speech when he fought on the Olberg Reyes card and all that, but he's a bit of a white Izzy, slick with the striking, long and tall for the division. He's way taller and longer than Cody Brundage, and yeah, I think he can and Cody Brundage also being very average for all aspects of the game. In his game, very average striking, grappling, and wrestling. And I think Ralston is going to be able to just piece him up, put hands on him, and TKO him in the first round. So moving on. Cam Ralston by TKO. Moving on to the headliner of the prelims. We got Junior Tafa versus Billy Elikana. I'm going with Billy Elikana by a round 1 sub. Damn, my dog. We all know Junior Tafa is not UFC level at all. Is pretty fucking dog shit. And somehow just skated away by being from Australia and just being a guy that can be put on these Australia cards whenever the UFC goes over there, and pretty much just surviving off that. Tafa is pretty tough as well. I mean, he did take a beating in his last one. He did take a beating for the whole first round and then come back in the second. But overall, just not really that much to him, except for just having a little bit of power and just being from Australia. While Billy Elikana is super dangerous, gave Bogdan Guskov a lot of problems in the first round on short notice, and then coming back and brutalizing Kevin Christian in his last fight, hurting him with a sharp counter lead hook coming in, and then choking him out unconscious. And I believe he can do something similar to Junior Tafa, who is just a striker, pretty much gets dominated in the grappling pretty much by everyone who tries to grapple with him. And I think Billy Elikana can put it on, Junior Tafa, just make him look silly, take him down with the grappling, and also hurt him on the feet with that lead counter hook that he has. I think he can take down Tafa, get the back of him, and put him out with a rear naked or just grind and pound him to a finish. It's really just Elikana's game on what he wants to do. But yeah, I'm going with Elikana by a round 1 sub. I think he'll take advantage of the nothing fucking grappling skills of Tafa and sub him. Moving on. We got the first fight on the main card. We got Quillen fucking Salkilled, Mike. Quillen fucking Salkilled. Bloody Quill. That boy Quill, Mike. He's fucking tougher than a $2 stack, Mike. We got Quillen Salkilled versus Jamie Malarkey. Y'all already know what I'm going with, man. Y'all already know what I'm going with. I'm going with Quillen Salkilled, man. Listen, man. I heard you done got you a dumb piece, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm going with Quill in this one. He's just too fucking dangerous. He's way too dangerous for Malarkey. He has shown that if you're capable and you're a good fighter, you can finish him. In a lot of his losses, he's been finished by pretty much all guys that have went on to be contenders at lightweight. And I think Quillen is on that level. He got finished by Hoofy. I think he got finished by Hack Paras also. Malarkey did. And I think Quillen will follow in their footsteps. Fucking dog. Quillen will follow in their footsteps. Quillen, he's got great wrestling and grappling. He showed that in the Yanel Ashmouz fight. Was able to pretty much out wrestle Yashmouz or Ashmouz for the entire fight. And in the Nasrat Hakparas, we all know that fucking, he's got that deadly head kick. And he's also very deadly with the hands, it seems. He lands good combos on the back foot, which is, like I said, is hard to do. when you're, fighting backwards, which that's primarily what Quillen does. That's one thing about him. He doesn't really fight going forward. He kind of just like tries to take it to the center or just backs up with it to with his back up against the fence, which is something that's very interesting. But Malarkey, I think for all intents and purposes, I think Quillen Salkeld can hurt Malarkey on the feet. Just kind of standing in the center with Malarkey, trying to make Malarkey sort of blitz in on him and counter him with like a uppercut. He's got a good uppercut and lead hook. Quillen does. I think he can make Malarkey run into that while they're standing in the center or on the back foot while Quillen's moving backwards. And also think in the grappling, he can out wrestle Malarkey and take it away. Malarkey in his last fight, he fought I think it was like a Peruvian guy, like a skinny fat Peruvian guy. I can't Rolando or something like that. Something like that. He fought that guy, controlled him on the ground, and I think Quillen is more than competent enough to grapple with Malarkey. I got some shit on my fucking. No, that's just a tattoo. That's just a weird ass tattoo on Malarkey. I don't know if y'all can see that. It's like a little speck on his leg. I thought that was something on my screen. Yeah, he's got. I think Quillen is more than competent enough on the ground to grapple with Malarkey. And on the feet, I think he's super dangerous and with his kicks, with his punches, and I think he can hurt Malarkey on the feet and finish him up in round 1. So I'm going with Quill to do that. Do just that. Moving on. We got Tai Tuivasa versus Tailton Teixeira. I'm going with Tailton Teixeira in this one. By a round 2 KO. We all know Tai. We all know the story of Tai. It's been tough for him. It's been super tough. 5-fight loss streak for him. It's not going well. Yeah, I don't think this is going to be the one that he bounces back on. He's been, we all seen him, the moments training in the Planet Fitness, the Taco Bell in the locker room. And yeah, I think this is going to be this might be his funeral. This might be Ty's funeral right here. Tailton Teixeira, we all know he's super dangerous. Got caught by Derek Lewis in this last fight. It happens to the best of us. Not Waldo Cortez, but it happens to the best of us. We all get, all the best heavyweights have to either fall to Derek Lewis or rise up against him. And Tailton Teixeira fell, but I think he can make the comeback against Tai Tuivasa, who is sort of just a brawler, just hands. Not really any technique. Tai, he has some good leg kicks, but he doesn't really throw those as much in his career now. I don't know if he's going to go back to them or whatever, but Teixeira, he's sharp with the striking. He has some good hands, some decent hands. I think he can land on Tai. When Tai tries to close the distance and tries to brawl with him, I think he can land on Tai, clip him and hurt him. I don't think he's going to put Tai out in the first round. Teixeira, he has like heavyweight power. He has like the standard amount of power at heavyweight in order to like thrive in there. But as much as like power past that, like like Sergey Pavlovich power or Ngannou power, he doesn't really possess that level of ability to stop people. So I think Tai is going to be able to take a few of those and survive to like a round 2 on Teixeira. And then after round 2, when Tai's a bit tired and stuff, I think he can put I think Teixeira is going to be able to land on him and put him away in the second round. So yeah, I'm going with Tailton Teixeira by a second round TKO, and him also having a massive reach and height advantage on Tai. Moving on, we got Rafael Fiziev versus Mauricio Hufi. I'm going with Hufi in this fight, man. I know I picked him. I picked him to win in his last fight against fucking Benoit Fraud Denise, but I'm confident in this one. Fiziev, he's not gonna try and grapple with Hufi as much as Denise was trying to. Yeah, I think Hufi, he's gonna be. I think Hufi is actually gonna be the sharper striker in this one. He's also way longer and taller than Fiziev. And he also he also has more power than Fiziev. I think Rufi has way more one-shot capability than Fiziev, who does sort of need to put combos on you in order to like TKO you and sort of, kind of hurt you. He doesn't really have that one-shot power to really like change the fight in his favor. He kind of has to put combos on you to really hurt you with any type of a consequence. And Rufi also, I think he can defend the takedowns if Fiziev does want to take him down. Fiziev, whenever he takes people down, he usually just shoots on the hips of them, and is way like very traditional with his wrestling and his grappling. Whereas Rufi, the only time he has like trouble getting taken down is against like Benoit, who was mainly using a lot of upper body takedowns, a lot of trips and throws on Rufi. But when you're actually shooting on the hips of Rufi, he's really quick to defend all of them. And I think he can defend the takedowns of Fiziev, who really doesn't really commit to any of them. He sort of just uses them to mix it in with his striking in order to like sort of get the heat off that. But he doesn't really like commit to any of his shots, and I see Hufi not being as scared of the grappling like he was with Benoit, and I also think he can clip Fiziev trying to come into range. I think he's way faster than Fiziev with his counters and his rear hand attacks. And he's also he's training with Volk. He spent the whole camp in Australia. Hopefully they've worked on, some better attacks for Rufi. I think he needs to use his jab way more and just throw with his lead hand way more. He's kind of too reliant on throwing a lot of rear hand and big dynamic stuff. He has a good jab, and hopefully they've worked on that with him to use it more to sort of set people up and probe at range and make people sort of run into something that isn't like too predictable. You can predict someone to be able to like run into the rear hand of someone, whereas a jab, it's a lot faster and a lot better way to sort of deter someone from running in and trying to close distance, especially close distance to grapple. So yeah, I think he can clip Fiziev while Fiziev's trying to come into range to set up his combos and all that stuff. So yeah, and he's got more power than Fiziev as well, and he's also faster in my opinion. So yeah, I think this fight goes to a unanimous decision for Rufi. Fiziev is pretty tough. He did get dropped by Gaethje. He hasn't really been like KO'd stiff badly from what I've seen. He did lose to KO in his debut against the Dagestani, but other than that, it's been Fiziev showed that he's had a good chin on him. I don't think Rufi's gonna be able to finish Fiziev in this fight, but I do think he's gonna be able to land the more powerful shots throughout the course of the fight, and take the fight to a decision for him. Moving on, we got Dan Hooker versus Benoit Fraud Denise. Sadly, gonna have to go with Benoit. I'm gonna have to go with Benoit. I just think Benoit is gonna be able to control Hooker on the ground way more than a lot of wrestlers that have fought Hooker couldn't, like Gamrot and stuff like that, and also Turner couldn't really control Hooker when they were fighting and stuff. I think Benoit is going to be able to control Hooker, wrestle the upper body of Hooker, because I think he's way more physical and stronger than Hooker. I think he's going to be able to get to the clinch and wrestle the upper body, use trips and takedowns on Hooker, and sort of not let Hooker sort of, back him up and pressure him backwards so Hooker can set up his combos against the cage and stuff. And not really like try and shoot on the hips of Hooker, because Hooker's always gonna be able to defend those. And I think he's gonna be able to grapple Hooker to open up the striking. For Benoit opening up striking on Hooker after grappling him, which causes him to land on Hooker, land on Hooker, and sort of drop him. Hooker does get, even though he does have a good chin, especially at lightweight, Hooker has been getting dropped a lot, especially getting dropped by guys like Gamrot and stuff like that, and hurt by Gamrot and shit. I think Benoit is going to be able to open up the striking with the grappling and drop him, like maybe on the break of a clinch exchange. Benoit has Hooker up against the fence and he drops him with like a hook or something. But yeah, overall I think Benoit can take Hooker down with the body locks and the trips and stuff like that, and get him to the ground, get his back. I think Hooker can scramble out of some positions. I think he can scramble enough to last him like a round or two, but as the fight goes on, I think Benoit is going to be able to slowly grind him down with the takedowns, get the back, and get a sub, like a rear naked choke or something like that. Maybe like a neck crank even. We know Hooker at the weigh-in for the Armin fight, Armin broke his nose with that headbutt, and Hooker is making a super fast turnaround. We don't know if that nose is, fully healed and all that. Yeah, maybe like Benoit gets like a neck crank, puts the arm around the mouth, and since Hooker has the broken nose and Benoit's covering the mouth with the hand, he can't breathe, and it leads to a tap, something like that. But yeah, I'm going with Benoit over here. Moving on, and that was the co-main. Moving on, we got Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. Kulan. We got Diego Lopez. I'm going with Volkanovski over here by unanimous decision. Even though I think Diego has improved a little bit in the Gene Silva fight, he was taking down Silva while Silva was trying to spin. He was using a lot of ground and pound, not really going for subs as much, not trying to dive and get to bottom position by throwing up subs and shit like that. But I don't think the improvement is enough for a guy like Volkanovski, who is pretty much the featherweight GOAT, on a crazy run. Has been on a crazy run in the UFC, is the featherweight GOAT consensively. I don't even know if that's a word. I think Volk is going to be overall too slick for Lopez. Is going to be too slick for Lopez. Too technical for Lopez. Be just way smarter in the cage than Lopez. Lopez, all it really has is his chin and his power. And I think that's not good enough to beat a guy like Volk. Even though he Lopez, I think he might shoot a lot in this fight, or not a lot. He might shoot some in this fight, or might try and shoot on Volk. I think Volk is going to be able to defend all of that. Grapple, been in there with Islam and shit like that. I don't think there's going to be much of an issue for Volk to defend the grappling of Lopez. Brian Ortega couldn't even sub Lopez. I mean, couldn't even sub Volk. So I'm not sure if Diego's gonna be able to pull that off. And yeah, I think he's just gonna be able to piece up Lopez with the jab, move around him, circle around, circle away from the power hand of Lopez, piece him up with that jab, land the inside leg kicks on Lopez, and just make Lopez look silly and school him again in this fight. Yeah, going with Alexander Volkanovski by unanimous decision. I know Lopez hurt Volk in their last fight, and there's a chance for it to happen here as well. But I think Volk is going to be able to recover from the shots of Lopez probably when Lopez drops Volk and probably stuns him. I think Volk is going to be able to recover. I don't think his chin is that cooked. So yeah, I'm going with Volk to school Lopez again. And yeah, that's gonna be the video. Those are all my picks for UFC 325. I'll do another fight companion for this card as well, since I'm not gonna be out of town. Like I said, like I thought I would be. Like I said in my other fight companion and my other prediction video, I'm not gonna be out of town, so I'll see you guys in a fight companion. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the card. Hope you guys are having a good day. My picks are, again, Volk by unanimous decision, Benoit by round 2 sub, Hoofy by unanimous decision, Teixeira by round 2 KO, Salcute by round 1 TKO, Elikana by round 1 sub, Rowson by round 2 TKO, Finney by unanimous decision, Mikalev by unanimous decision, EJ by round 2 KO, Kim by unanimous decision, Saleh by split decision, Louis by round 2 TKO, and Toe by round 2 TKO. So yeah, those are my picks. Make sure to bet the house on all of them. You already know. Hey, I'm coming off a great performance from the 324 card. And I'm expecting another one. Hopefully we get the main event right in this card. I think this is probably going to be the easiest main event out of all the ones throughout the year to pick, as far as we know. So yeah, hopefully I get that right. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. I will be posting a reaction and breakdown to this card after my my fight companion and all that shit. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like, comment, sub, all that shit, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.